Joris Bontje from OneUp.Company and also organizer of the Dutch Ethereum developer meetup. Welcome. What is OneUp.Company about?
So OneUp.Company, we're building technology startups using disruptive technologies. So using blockchain, smart contracts, Internet of Things, big data, machine learning, virtual reality, combining them and then basically showing to traditional organizations how that can make them either obsolete or how they can innovate and anticipate on that. And we'll try to formulate within a startup proposition.
Okay. Have you delivered successful startups yet?
Well, we're building two startups at the moment, and a lot of other projects are in the more, I guess, how you say that, a phase possibly leading towards a startup.
Okay.
So some of the projects are more going towards a proof of concept or a demonstration of how this technology can be used, either for internal purposes of actually discovering like what's the best use case, what's the best technology, or what kind of people do we need to hire, or where should our focus go towards. Otherwise, others might be more for an outside purpose, like how can we, especially using blockchain technology, how can we work together with other business partners or with the government or with people in the civilians within the ecosystem to do stuff.
You apply disruptive technologies in your startup. What is it about blockchain that you think is disruptive?
I remember I used to be a software engineer myself, and I was working inside a lot of financial institutions, seeing from the inside how they used to work. And at some point I didn't actually know where I was happy to store my own euros anymore. So when I got into blockchain, Bitcoin being, I guess, the gateway drug towards the blockchain, it was like, well, now I can be my own bank, or I can make my own decisions, and I don't need to ask anybody for permission anymore. I can experiment with new ideas, new innovations, etc. And do this globally, do this worldwide, and also in an open source fashion. So that's a totally different way of working together than first applying for an API to some kind of proprietary platform that you can only use within one country or within one specific region.
Okay. You said you were a software developer. Do you still develop for blockchain solutions?
Yeah, I still try to develop, but as a CTO I have other roles as well, and I'm actually trying to, I guess, my own blockchain knowledge, specific towards Ethereum, trying to explain that, make that into training modules to train our own staff, our own contractors, etc., and spread the knowledge.
Are there any languages or platforms that are easier to start with if you want to start working on blockchain technology?
It helps if you come from a JavaScript background, just because you're familiar with a lot of the pieces, a lot of the tools inside the ecosystem. You have to learn new tools, new technologies, new languages, but if you're familiar with, I guess, multiple languages and multiple types of programming languages, maybe you have had something about a language design or building compilers. I mean, these are the kind of modules that you can learn, at least when you're doing a computer science track at university level. Those kind of backgrounds, those kind of skills, and also having like a full stack experience. So not only looking at the front end, but also the back end, the communication parts. It helps to have such a background. But I'm still trying to look for the ideal profile, or like what's the best. How does the future decentralized app developer, how do they look like? What kind of properties do they have? I'm still trying to discover that, but that's an ongoing journey. Okay.
Do you have any startups right now in which you actually utilize cryptocurrencies as a driver for your blockchain?
What's interesting is one of the projects that we're working with is the Maker project, and the goal of the Maker is to create a stable currency on top of the Ethereum platform. So the problem with a lot of these cryptocurrencies is that the price is highly fluctuating, and that's great if you're a day trader, if you want to speculate, etc. But if you have a long-term vision, if you want to build, for example, an insurance product that should pay out something that has the same kind of value as you put into it today in a couple of years, you cannot do this reliably using cryptocurrencies. So that's why we discovered this to be such an important property that we're working together with this Maker organization, this Maker open source project initiative, to build the tools for them, like a marketplace, like auctions, like a lot of the core modules that they're using to build this stable currency that they're working on.
Okay. You mentioned Maker platform. Are there any other applications outside of finance, I should say, that you think are really suited for blockchain disruption?
At this moment, we're still at the stage where we are discovering like what are the critical components that you need. Things like identity comes to mind. Like at marketplace, but that's a financial thing. Sharing data, and again answering the question like which pieces of the data should be stored on chain and which of the pieces of the data can be stored elsewhere. But how do you maintain the integrity advantages of using the blockchain? So a lot of these building blocks are still being developed, and that's I guess that's on one end as a developer, that's the challenge, or it can also be a risk. You need to be the first to build these building blocks. There's not so much, I mean, it's starting to come and to arrive there, but there's not a lot of ecosystem tools that you can easily use. You end up building a lot of these critical blocks yourself, and yeah, you need to have quite a long breath to survive that basically, and keep working on your core project. And it's very easy to start with something, and then while doing this, you pivot towards and you discover the next use case to work on.
Okay. You're also founder or organizer, I should say, for the Dutch Ethereum developers Meetup. What do you expect out of that community? What do you hope will happen?
It's when I got started, it was in 2014 with the Ethereum meetups. It was just like people were so eager for knowledge, and they didn't know what was happening in the ecosystem. There were no blogs yet, there were no YouTube channels yet. There was basically a lack of resources. So this was a way to get familiar with other interested developers and get beyond the level of just talking about something, but looking at what can you actually do with it, what can you actually build with it. We had some mini hackathons. So yeah, getting your hands dirty and build products, and that's always my aim for these kind of meetups. So get beyond the talking phase and actually start building stuff together and share information about how you can do it, what are the best tools for it, what are the best languages, what are the best practices.
How big is your community right now?
It's hard to say. I think 400 subscribers at the moment. We're typically at the meetup. Well, we have to limit them due to just the limitation of the venues, but I guess we easily get 40, 50 people to a meetup.
How is the guys versus girl ratio?
As usual in this scene, there are a lot of guys and there are not a lot of girls, but there's some there that are interested in it, and that they're always welcome to attend. And I'm hoping to get it more equally mixed up. And I think that's also when you go outside of the realms of the core tech or maybe the core finance, but look for other kind of use cases. That's much more friendly towards all kinds of interested people, independent of their sex.
Okay. Now, if somebody was watching this and was getting interested to get their hands dirty, so to speak, using blockchain technology, what would your first advice be? What should they start out with?
It's great to have an aim and to go for something. So imagine a kind of application that you want to build, maybe born out of your own frustration or inspiration, or you have some. Try to build that, and by setting that goal and trying to work towards it, you need to discover the ecosystems, the back practices, the languages, the tools, etc. And that might be a long stretch, but by doing that and trying to reach that, you will learn so much instead of just reading about it without any kind of use case for it.
So, get to it.
Get started.
Start working. Thank you very much.
All right.